Pro 1200 primary run screens in a AF series combine. Looking at our run screens on the first page, we've named this one Harvest. We have our general machine layout showing the cross section of our system. And on there we can see what crop type we're running, our vane position, bushels per acre, bushels per hour, our moisture percentage, rotor speed, concave position, front top sieve, rear top sieve, front lower sieve, rear lower sieve, chopper speed, spreader speed, fan RPM, and feeder RPM, as well as the engine RPM below it. Anything in a blue box we can actually tap on to adjust. So on our top sieve we can see that our sieve is set at 4 millimeters, what our headland change would be, as well as if I hit on the upper front sieve, we have a 4 millimeter, it's set to 4 millimeters, so I can actually close that one off so that the front will be 2 millimeters tighter than the rear. That is how we would adjust our sieves, our front ones. Our front ones are normally tied to the rear, but we can set a offset in them if we're trying to do different things with the cleaning system. So now when I adjust my sieves, you can see that they go up, and there's always a 2 millimeter offset on those. On our funnels on the bottom, we have our rotor loss on the left side of this funnel, our crack grain on the right side, material other than grain, MOG, or dirty sample on the left side, tailings volume on the right, sieve loss left and right. So the whole funnel is for the sieve loss, but we can tell if we got more sieve loss on one side than the other, and our sieve pressure bar. Each of these buttons also bring us up the automation setup pages for those particular funnels, which we'll talk about in another video. So over on the left side, we have our park brake, ground speed, transmission gear, our hopper level, which should go up in 10% increments rather than 0, 75, 100 like the old ones did. It's showing that our hopper is open. It's showing that our auger is folded. And this blue writing on the back shows us what chopping mode we are in. Fuel level, def level, we can see the A in here tells us we have automation engaged. The header is in headland mode. Our engine temperature, swath number, whether we're in an AccuSync job or not, or which job we would be in, coverage area, and we can scroll down on here for some various field areas, working, time working, average speed, stuff like that. Now, as we come across the bottom, we do have our second tab, or run 2, which is called crop, and we have some area information, average working rate, acres per hour, a description, or a fore-aft tilt position, so we can see where our feeder faceplate is tipped, quick and easy. And we also have the ability to change what our shift and fore-aft button does. So if we are set to feeder and we hit shift and the tilt button, it'll do the feeder faceplate. If we go to header, then it will move the knife tilt on the FD2 headers. So that's a quick, easy spot to get to when you're playing around with that. On the right side, we have our nudge, our remark, cross-track error, some steering tuning, and our swath number again. When we go to run 3, or the yield tab, we have various yield and moisture information. So yield, average yield, moisture, flow, average yield counter, bushel counter, average moisture counter, weight counter, crop temperature, and our manual cut height. So this we can see, this number should adjust as we overlap our own track. Run 4, or the combine tab. Several things here which would be fairly new to AF series combines. So top left corner, we have spreading control, manual, GPS, or auto. So most of the combines will be ordered with the automatic spread, automation on the spread sense. So we would go to auto. At this point, we can now set our maximum width that we want it to spread. So I'm going to hit the gear in the bottom right corner, which is going to take us up to full screen. And you can see here that we can now go in and adjust this. So this combine is going to be equipped with a 50-foot head. So I'm going to take this up to 49.5 feet. Now the combine is going to sense off those sensors, and it's going to give us a little target down below here showing us what we are going to be spreading. So blue will be our covered area, orange would be our overthrow, red would be severe overthrow, and we'll also get like a tan area on the side where it's sensing standing crop. We can also enter in an edge offset, so if we want to do, I want to do 0.5 feet. Now, if there's a standing crop, it'll keep it half a foot from there. So it'll offset so we're not blowing into the standing crop. And it'll sense which side has the standing crop on. As you're running down the field, these guys here will show what your spreader RPM is. Once it hits max speed or min speed, it'll say max or min, but anywhere in between, it'll actually give you an RPM there. So if I hit OK, it shrinks it back down to that smaller corner. The top right side is our chopper counter knife control. If you have in-cab adjustable chopper counter knives, you can adjust them in or out with this mode. Rotor gear control. So we have our rotor gear 1, 2, 3 or neutral. So you can select what gear range you are. The separator has to be off to do that, but you can do that from the cab without going outside and wiggling the lever. On the right side, we have residue mode control. So number 2 mode shows it going through the chopper. The second one shows it dropping in front of the chopper going into the spreader. So you're spreading the straw but not chopping. That's more of a corn thing. And this mode over here on the right side shows going over top of the chopper. So that would be for dropping windrows, for baling or that sort of thing. Chopper gear control, we have low or second or neutral, which is done from the cab. Now we do have spreader speed left and spreader speed right, so you can monitor what those spreaders are doing in automation. So if you have a strong side wind, one might be at max, one might be at minimum. Turn the headlands, it should reverse automatically. Time to grain tank full, this will monitor how quick the hopper's filling up and give you an estimated time on there. And then we also have our chopper speed. When I go to the next camera labeled one, we will have our grain camera. So on our grain camera, it's going to show once we get running, this middle will have a big screen on there with a picture of the grain sample in the grain camera on the right side of the combine. And in there, it'll have any mog or material other than grain circled with blue. And any broken kernels will be circled in orange. And the automation uses that to determine where to put the funnels and use that to set the machine. Now, if your combine is equipped with the 3D or 360 degree cameras, the 4 cameras all together around the machine, that would show up on this monitor. And you could tap on it and if I can hit the right spot, and it would make it full screen and you would have a picture of your combine in the middle with the 360 round. Now, lower right corner, we have our speed ranges. So we can set the low range. So right now, if my right switch on the right-hand console is in low range, when I speed my hydro up, it'll go to 5.5 miles an hour. If I want a little more, I can set that to 6. Then if I need to shuttle across the field to go dump into the cart, I can switch to high range on the fly and I will get up to 10 miles an hour. If I shift the transmission into high range or second gear, field or road mode, you can see that I can set a maximum speed on my high range and set a speed on my low range that's different than what field gear is. Next tab we got labeled as header. So these will be things that will relate to the header, obviously. So the top here we have a blank spot. Right now with the software version, they don't allow us to do it, but in a future software version, we should be able to put the FD2 lateral belt speed or the draper speed adjust on there. Right now, with the software version, it doesn't allow us to do that. Hopefully that comes in the next one. Here's our shift reel fore aft choice again. So either header functions, which would be your knife tilt, or feeder functions would be your faceplate tilt. Feeder faceplate tilt position, your contour wheel position if you have the sensors. On the right hand side we have our lower rate, raise rate, tilt sensitivity, height sensitivity. The bottom we have our lateral tilt angle, stubble height, and then in the middle here we have our grain pan side shake and our upper shoe side shake. So with our cleaning system, if we start overloading in different parts of the sieves, it'll do a side shake to level that rather than doing self-leveling shoes. So that will give you an indication what's going on there. Engine tab, just various information about the engine. Engine hours, threshing hours, engine speed, engine load, coolant temperature, engine oil pressure, voltage, hydraulic oil temperature, fuel level, PTO control pressure, boost pressure, lube pressure. So just some information, base information of the engine and the combine systems.